Our call to worship today is To the Four Directions. It's a reading for individual voices. Spirit of the East, spirit of air, of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises in times of beginning, times of planting, Inspire us with fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures.
Spirit of the South, Spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us.
Spirit of the West, Spirit of the water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace.
Spirit of the North, Spirit of earth, of nighttime and of winter, be with us in darkness, in the time of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives.
Our chalice lighting today is Soul Fire by Anasti Baroche. As we light this flame of hope, may our congregation become a kaleidoscope of our souls and people. In the presence of this flame, in me, in you, in us, is an invitation to sit at the table. May we tend our soul fire through these challenging and trying times to open our hearts and minds of all who enter our doors. Hello, my name is Mari, and my pronouns are she, her. Our church shares a covenant that we make with one another. It's a promise that helps us, reminds us of why we gather and how we want to be with one another. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in saying our covenant together. We unite to strengthen the bonds of kinship among all persons, to promote human dignity, and to increase reverence for life's creating, sustaining, and transforming power through worship, study, and service. Please remain standing to sing our opening hymn, number 338.
Who brought their backpacks and the ones who did not bring their backpacks to come on up to the front. Hey, hi, how are you all this morning? Good. You excited? First day of church school? Yeah. Gonna be fun? Yay, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you if you did bring your backpacks, or if you're not, we're going to sprinkle them with some water that we all brought last week for the water communion. Did you guys bring water communion last week, some of you? Yeah, I remember seeing you. Great. So we're also using to sprinkle on the backpacks. We're going to use this branch from outside, because a long time ago, when people blessed people, they always used a branch or something from outside to bring nature into the thing. So we have earth through the trees, and we have the water that we brought as a community. And when we bless you, I want you to think about this blessing that's going onto your backpacks and onto you as kind of an invisible blanket that you can take with you to school every single week. And nobody knows it's there but you. But if something hard happens at school, you can kind of wrap that invisible blanket around you and go, there are 100 people back at my church that love me. And it doesn't matter how hard today is, I'm okay. And if you have a really great day, then you can imagine that your invisible blanket is a cape and that you are flying. So no matter what it is, you have taken this blessing, this invisible blanket with you every day to remind you of how loved you are by the people in this church and how they will support you and love you no matter what happens in the world. Do you think you can all remember that when you go to church and take your blessed backpacks? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle you a little bit. And if you don't have a blanket, you're going to take the invisible blanket or cape right on your body. It'll be with you every single day. Everybody in the congregation just to raise up a hand and send your love with these children, with their backpacks, with their invisible blanket or cape, whatever it needs to be. And just say, we bless you.
We bless you.
All right. The next part is the Wonder Box part. Do you guys remember Wonder Box? Well, with Wonder Box, we take a minute and we just think about what today is. Think about what's going on, and think what might possibly be in that box to represent today. So I want you to think for maybe about 10 seconds. Think really hard. And everybody out there, think hard. Wonder what might be in this box. Any ideas? Could be a wagon. Well, maybe not. Maybe it would have to be a tiny wagon, huh? Any other ideas? Yes? Is it bluey? Oh, that would be an excellent thing to be in the box, wouldn't it? What about you? What? It could be a car, a very tiny car, but yes, it could be a car. Does anybody want to come up and open the box and see what might be in there? Yes, come on. And I want you to remember who gets a turn so we can take turns. Yeah, come on up. Yes.
It's a mystery.
Mystery. It's a mystery. It's a question mark, huh? So what is a mystery? You can leave.
We have to figure out where the clue is.
He thinks the clue is in there. Well, it's a question mark. And a question mark is like a mystery because a question mark makes us ask questions. Yes. It could be in there, but I don't think it is today. I think today it's just a question mark. Today, a question mark is just a question mark. But next week, it might be something else. So our question mark reminds us to ponder. Do you know what the word ponder means? Yes, but not really. That is such an honest answer. Yes, but not really. Yeah. What do you think? You forgot. It's okay. It's okay. Pondering means when you find something and you look at it and you wonder about it. You were going to say that, I'm sorry. So, when you wonder about things, so I think that's a great question. The question mark is for today because it tells us that we approach life when you're going to school, when you're going to your activities, that you always remember to be curious about what's going on. Because you know what? Here's a secret. You guys are really, really smart. I know you're really smart. And everybody sitting out here are really, really smart people. Everybody over here, really smart people too. And here, we're lots of smart people, but you know what about all of us smart people? We never know all there is to know. The smartest person in the world doesn't know all there is to know. So we always need to be wondering and pondering and asking questions. And that's what that question mark reminds us to do today, to go into every part of our lives. Not only you guys who go into school, but everybody out here too. Go into our lives thinking and asking questions and wondering, what if we did something different? What if we didn't do what we always did and tried to imagine a different world? And so that's what we try to do here at church. That's what I'm inviting you guys to do when you go to school. And that's a wonderful thing. So now we're gonna have our next thing, which we're gonna invite our teachers to stand up. So for our teachers, you guys you can stay here for the end of this part. Would all the people who are gonna be teachers this year please stand up? Maybe look around. Look at these amazing people that have said yes. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna say thank you for saying yes, for using your own imagination and your own curiosity and your own ability to see the world through different perspectives and different lenses so that you can share that with our kids. And this year, your job is simply to be good enough. You do need to bring your passion and your knowledge and your kindness and your creativity, but also remember to take care of yourselves. Remember to breathe. Remember to model slowing down for the little people in your lives. Remember to ask support when you need it. And always know that we are grateful for you taking such an amazing job of our little people in the church. Do you promise to remember how important you are? How much that we know you give and how much you also receive? Do you promise to ask for help when you need it and find ways to enjoy life every way you can when you come into this church? You all promise that this year? Say yes. Yes! Okay, you could sit down. Our final group is our faith development leaders in the church. First, I'm going to ask Jeannie Scown and Susan Auld to stand up. Thank you, Susan. Thank you for all the lives you've touched and your willingness to pass along a really strong program. Can everybody here give these two leaders a nice round of applause? You can sit down if you want. Now I'm going to ask Rick Rayborn and Pat Wydell to stand up. There's Rick and Pat. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for saying yes. The baton has been passed, and you will both follow the great footsteps left by Susan and Jeannie. And you'll bring your own vision and your own excitement and your own enthusiasm and wonder and curiosity. And the church joins me in commissioning you to facilitate the Adult Faith Development Program this year. We thank you and bless you and also remind you to take care of yourselves, to model slowing down sometimes, to ask for support when you need it. Because the church should be the place in the world where we bring our passion, but we don't have to keep doing more and more and more and more. I know somebody might be getting mad at me for saying this, but it really has to be true. Because when we bring out of our joy and out of our surplus, we have so much more to give than if we're running and running and running. So I'm going to say, do you promise to take your time, to slow down sometimes, and to bring all the joy you can into this work? I got some nods. Yay, thank you. Thank you so much for taking this on. Have we clapped for them yet? Or do we have to be sure? And finally, I'm going to ask everybody who has ever led a program, everybody who is leading one now, who might lead one in the future even, if you're thinking about it really hard. And I want you to stand up. everybody in the church. And if you're wondering, could it be me? Then for sure it is you. So stand up. This means our young adults, our forum leaders, our Sacred Feminine, and all the other groups that I haven't yet met, that this amazing church has so many going. So thank you. Your job this year is to wonder. You can poke and prod and read and explore too, but mostly look upon the world and find something to wonder about. Find some way to see the world a little differently than you have the rest of your lives. I know, they're having fun. So, may our whole church be blessed this year with all the excitement, the curiosity, the joy, all of that which creates such strong bonds and rich lives. Everybody can sit down now. And we're going to sing our children off to their classes for the very first time. Invite Peggy to come back up.
Many of us want to have a significant impact on our community. It's a challenge to have that impact alone, and together, with generosity of spirit, financial gifts, time, and love, we'll fulfill our mission. Together, we'll create a beloved community. Together, we'll inspire, heal, and belong. The offering will now be gratefully received.
invite you to take a deep breath in, and then exhaling, relaxing breath out. Allowing any tension that came with you today to drain down your back, down your shoulders, through your hips, knees, out the bottom of your feet, into the rich, dark earth below us. What should you be thinking today? Who are you today? Are you full or are you empty? Are you feeling lonely? Are you enjoying a sense of solitude? Are you feeling the weight of the world? Or are you able to appreciate the birdsong? Which of the many parts that make up each and every one of us is with you and is making itself felt today? I have a poem translated by Coleman Barks by Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who are violently sweeping your house empty of all its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them all at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each was sent as a guide from beyond. I invite you just to space a few moments of breathing and listening to who might be present today. We hold some joys and sorrows that have been shared with our community. Julie Ciccarelli says that thanks to the board and the church leaders who hosted such a wonderful potluck and welcome last weekend. And we offer our condolences to Lois and Jeff, who lost their dear cat Cindy, and to Marianne O'Toole and Mike Dubois, whose beloved dog passed away. We are very glad that Doree Bryan came through some time in the hospital feeling much better. And we send loving thoughts to Bob Spielman in the hope that he makes it home from rehab very soon. I'd like to celebrate that a very good friend of mine in Ohio just became a grandmother again and welcomed Hartford Ray. I married Hartford Ray's parents last year, so that's a special joy. And we hold a space in memory for all of those who lost their lives on 9/11, both in 2001 and recently. Our hearts go out to everyone living through the repercussions of violence and pain. Finally, we remember our deep connection to the earth. We grieve for the many species that go extinct each year, and we still pause every day to recognize the call of the cardinal, maybe the crow, whatever bird is outside your house, that reminds us that we are all beloved and inseparable from an amazing universe. For all the intentions that remain in the secret sanctuaries of each of your hearts this morning, know that you are held and loved. Join in singing number 123, Spirit of Life. You can remain seated.
Today I share a reading called The Invitation from Uriah Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, and for the adventures of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or become shriveled and closed from the fear of future plans. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide or to fade it or to fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful. Be realistic, or remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself, if you can bear the accusations of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand at the edge of the lake and shout to the sliver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fails. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you truly like the company you keep in that empty spaces. Thus ends the reading.
I love that poem. Some of the questions in there are easy to answer. And there's one really tough one. It's the one, if you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. That's a hard one for me, because I always want to feel trustworthy and not be faithless. Today it was your job to come up with the hard questions, and I have a whole stack of them here that I'm going to try to answer. And if we have time, you can raise your hand and ask more. Who knows? Oh, front and back. There's more. Oh, look at that. There's front and back. How about that? Maybe you won't have any time, so don't worry about it. But you know what? This... I'm going to let Mari start, because she sent me quite a few, and they're still in the printer in the office. So I'll let her have the first question.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find
She's finding them. Okay, you get a minute. While she's finding, I'll start with the first one, because this one's kind of... What in our UU faith might inoculate us against the confirmation bias that is being used to divide our country? That's a hard one, isn't that? Because the confirmation bias is something that we don't know, right? It's the water we're swimming within. It's the things that we think we know and don't realize that we don't know. Recently, I just found a new app. I'm not much of an app user, but this one is called Ground, like the ground we walk on. And the fascinating thing about it is it gives you, about any topic, all of the articles. So it might have 15 different articles, and each one of them is rated by this one leans left, this one leans right, this one is center, this one is more factual, this is less factual. And I don't have time to read all those, but I do go through and just flip through to see what is, and then they have one part that's called your blind spot. And those are always the ones that are only covered on the right, or only covered on the left. And so those are the most fascinating ones to read. Yesterday it was said, the story that the people on the left have not heard about at all is there's a Texas billionaire that is suing Greenpeace, likely to win, and it might make Greenpeace go bankrupt. And I had not heard a whisper of that in the things that I read. So I think that's not actually our youth faith, but that's part of our youth faith is that we always keep looking, we always keep wondering, we always keep opening up and not just reading the things that are going to make us feel good about the world. But, I mean, you need to feel good too. I'm not saying you have to be all the time feeling doom and gloom, and you have to find those places to ground yourself in to make yourself strong enough, but you also have to open our minds to those things that are not easy and make us feel good. So, hope that's an answer to that question. Okay.
I would like to know how you like to engage with the younger people in our congregation, since we're growing a younger congregation.
Okay, that's a great question. Well, I'm going to go join our young adults today at their meeting and see how they would like me to be involved with them, because I think that's the first question, is not say what I'm going to do, but ask someone what they would appreciate and what they need. One thing I'm really wanting to have a discussion with our board and leaders and everyone is, what should church look like in the future? Because we have a few younger people coming, and that is awesome. But most younger people, my children as well, just don't think church is relevant at all to them. And so how can we imagine what might be relevant to people whose lives are so busy that they don't have time to breathe sometimes? And one of the things that I really would like to do, to play with, to practice, to see if we can do this year, is to change the culture from always doing to really a lot more being. Because I think everybody will tell you how to do what you can do. And I don't think there's very many places in this world that tell you, teach you, give you the opportunity simply to be, simply to explore what it is to be a human being and allow ourselves to learn that down to our toes. Not just 5 minutes we stick into a corner and maybe 10 minutes into a yoga class or something, but actually practice as a church community beingness. Thank you. Here's one. What is your favorite TV series, book, movie? Usually it's the one I'm watching right now. We're watching A Discovery of Witches right now, which is really a well-written show. And I am reading a book called Beyond These Fences by Bayo Kamalape. And what else am I reading? I just picked up a book from Merton because my spiritual director gave me this quote that is also fitting in really well to how I'm trying to live my life. And the quote is by Thomas Merton. And he says that, I'm not remembering it verbatim, of course, but that always being busy, even by peace activists, is a form of violence. Because peace activists need to find and create peace in their own lives in order to bring that to the world. And so I really I want to read that one book and see what else he has to say on that topic. It intrigues me. Let's see. As a contract minister, we only have about 9 months together. What will your focus on our church be during this time? See last question. Good morning. What is your source of inspiration? I do feel deeply, deeply connected to our earth, our universe. Just recently that's why I like the Discovery of Witches. We've just been recently doing a lot of witchy things, which means for me, learning and paying attention to the earth. I took 2 years off from my last church that I served. And when I was praying one morning, I was like, what should I do? And I got this very odd answer that was just learn the crows. It's like, what does learn the crows mean? So I started really paying attention. We have a lot of crows around our house, and I started feeding them. I started paying attention to the crows were doing. And so that was my step into that. And then I've deepened it I'm learning the phases of the moon. I never knew before that it went from one way to the other. So you could look up at the moon and know whether it's waxing or waning by which side is on. Probably a lot of you all already knew that. I didn't know that before. I thought that was an amazing thing to learn. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm grounding myself in the earth. When I get up first thing in the morning, I walk outside with the dogs and just say good morning and thank you and listen to the birds. So I ground myself in this earth. And there's so much peace in that. How does one minister to a congregation following a national event that may lead to many of them being in despair? Oh gosh, isn't that the question I've been asking myself ever since I got here? And it goes back to the last question again. I'm trying to ground all of us in the reality of the earth, of which we cannot be separated no matter what's going on. In the African American community, there's this concept of hallelujah anyway. Hallelujah anyway. The world can be horrible, and there is still joy to be found. And so I'm looking for how we can, as a community, find that hallelujah anyway. So no matter what happens in November, we can keep walking and keep singing and keep praying and keep loving together. And it's not going to be the end of the world. And we'll also pray ahead of time that we get to laugh and celebrate. What do you see as a successful contract ministry? I think it's the same as any ministry. I'm not going to do anything different that I wouldn't do with the church that I was called to do. You are the folks that I get to walk with this year. We get to study and learn and be together, and I'm not going to do anything different than I wouldn't do any other ministry. So successful means that we do good ministry together. All right, here's a bunch on the same page. Okay. How can we do church in new ways? One of the things that I've been really excited about, I love to listen to music. I love music. And a couple years back, my son gave me shared his Spotify membership with me. And what's been so joyful about that is I'm too cheap. I wouldn't have paid $13 a month just for music. But since I have this music, I have found so much amazing music. And I found this whole genre that is kind of like Jewish, I don't know, dance music? I don't know. But it's singing, it's acoustic, and it's just chanting for the most part, and it brings me so much joy. And it's all young people who are doing the singing as well. And so one of the things that I'm hoping we can create, and if you're interested, I hope you reach out to me, is maybe a Sunday evening service. A service where we get in circle and we dance, where we are really embodied in our bodies and paying attention to how we're connected to the earth, and where it's being present. And you know what? Maybe it won't work. Maybe young people will go, bah, it's still a church. But you know, I want to experiment. So that's one of my ideas for doing church in new ways. The other thing I have to tell you is everything I read about doing church new is about having small groups so people get to know each other well. You guys do that awesome already. You don't need to be fixed in that way. So I think we're just going to build on what's here and see what we can do, and do a lot of throwing something against the wall and see if it works. You know, and maybe it will and maybe it won't. How do you navigate the various feelings about the previous minister? My first ministry was in interim ministry down in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I remember one time it was a beautiful, group of beautiful people. All of our churches have a bunch of beautiful people in it, but it had a lot of unhealthy patterns of behavior. One of which were people often said, if I don't get my way, I quit. And I'm taking my marbles and going home. And so we dealt with that a lot. And one time I was around the corner from the kitchen, and they didn't see me, the people in the kitchen didn't see me, and one of the ladies said, ministers come and ministers go, and we're still here. And I think that's the thing you have to be, if you love your minister or if you hate your minister. The church is you. The It doesn't matter. The church is you, and you get to decide what the church is going to be and how you're going to behave together. And any minister who serves you is going to bring who they are. And you know, some of us have done more work than others. Some of us have just different ways of being in the world. And sometimes those ways don't match up with the church. And you know, that's okay, because things will change. That's the one thing we all know. If you want to wait for something different, just wait a minute, because it's all going to change around us, right? You never step in the same river twice. So what I would say is, if you need to process about any bad feelings, or if you need to process the things that you really liked, my door is always open. You're welcome to come in and talk to me about things in confidence, and you know, do that healing that you need to do. And that's all there is. You know, we all have people that sometimes rub us well and sometimes don't. And I'll help you in any way I can. That one kind of we already answered. What is the most important thing a UGU church can bring to people in this time in our world? And I think that's groundedness, is what is real. And what are the special qualities, gifts, outcomes you think your unique ministry has brought to your congregations in the past? What I got reflected back to me a lot from the last two churches I served was that I brought a sense of gratitude, a sense of appreciation, both for who was present and who could be present, and a peacefulness. I often get told I have a peaceful voice, which makes me worry, are they falling asleep? But, and I had in my last church a delightful gentleman that I'd look back every single sermon and he'd be, nobody was there every Sunday, that's all you can say. What is your own theology in this chapter of your life, and how has it evolved? That's a long one. I started out Roman Catholic, but I was always very connected to the sacred otherness of life. I always felt there was something real there that heard me when I was in my sadness, that supported me in my joy. And I have to say, even as a very young Catholic, because I felt that in my church, I would try so hard to feel as guilty as they told me I should feel. Especially as the Stations of the Cross, I would try to go, yeah, it was me that killed Jesus. I could never actually believe it, and I still thought God lived in that church until I had a really huge spiritual experience when I was living in Colorado, in Estes Park, Colorado. And that was a very dark place in my life. And at that point, I found myself just screaming at God, just yelling at God, saying, I have done everything you wanted me to do. Why don't you give me what I want? And I got this very clear answer in my head that said, why don't you want what you've been given? And somehow that shifted everything in me, because I suddenly felt like I was loved entirely for who I was, exactly as I was. I didn't have to say 10 Hail Marys. I didn't have to do all the stuff the church told me I had to do in order to feel loved. And at the same time as feeling that I was surrounded in love, I knew everybody else was as well. And so it took me quite some time, because I was so Catholic, to move. I studied Buddhism and Hinduism, Judaism. I eventually found someone who was a Sufi, which is the mystical branch of Islam. And I studied under a Sufi teacher for a couple years. And it was lovely. We danced a lot. But Sufis only get together a couple times a month, maybe. I am a church geek. I love church. And so when I met some UUs who were also Sufis and started going to their church, I was like, woohoo, you get to get all of this. You get the universal sense that all of the different teachings bring us truth and joy, and you get to go to church every Sunday. So that was awesome. And then when I was sitting there, Reverend Kathleen Rollens, she was up there preaching, and I went, I could even be a minister in this faith. So went back to school, got my degree in religious studies, and went to Meadville Lombard. And it's been an amazing journey. And I think the biggest shift, even in that, was coming back these last few years and embracing my connection to the earth. If you're interested, I'm not a podcast listener, but I have one that we found, actually my spiritual director recommended. It's called The Emerald. And it talks about how humans, for like 99.9% of our being, the 300,000 years that we've been being on this earth, have lived in an interactive and alive reality. And it's just in the last 400 or 500 years where we've made the earth be dead and we be above it all. And it's kind of fallen apart, gone to shit ever since we've gone that way. Because we suddenly think that humans we know everything. And so the people I've been reading lately and the people I've been following are talking about how much wisdom there is in the earth if we just pay attention to that wisdom. How much we can learn. I mean, now, I'm sure a lot of you know this, we now know the trees talk to each other, trees support each other. How much more do we not know about what's going on in the world around us? So that's where I am right now, listening and studying the earth in my theological journey. Okay, see what else is here. What time is it? We should probably be wrapping it up, huh? I'll give this one, let's see. How do we help grow our membership? That one I think is simple. If we keep being alive here, then people who want to be alive will come join us. That's the best we can do, and I think we can do it a little bit more intentionally, but figuring out what church could look like in the future will help us invite other people in. Okay, that one I already read. That one's good. Okay, I think I caught them all. So pretty good. You guys are awesome. Thank you. It's so good to be here with you all. Oh. I'll just close by reiterating, my door is always open, although you have to check ahead because my calendar might not be. But I really do want to get to know all of you. Now we're going to enjoy a beautiful piece by the choir.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of its truth, the warmth of this community, nor the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our heart and share with all of the world. Please rise in spirit or body and sing closing hymn number 301.
Touch
Because of those who came before, we are. In spite of, oh, you can be seated, I'm sorry. In spite of their failings, we believe. Because of, and in spite of the horizons of their vision, we too dream.
We've broken our vows.